The Nintendo Switch Eshop is chock full of games on sale, over 500 at any one time in fact, but which titles are worth picking up? I'm James Amera here at SwitchWatch, and every Sunday I help you to cut through the noise and find the best deals, the bargains that are worth your hard-earned cash. Let's jump in and take a look at the best of these deals. Kicking things off with my pick of the week, and it's not for the faint of heart. Outlast, Bundle of Terror and Outlast 2 both have a whopping 75% off, making them must-have purchases for fans of the horror genre on the Switch. The original game is a true survival horror experience, putting you in the claustrophobic surroundings of an asylum where your only hope is to run and hide. What's more, the story is expanded with the Whistleblower DLC that dives further into this grim tale. Outlast 2 is longer, tougher, and has some darker scenes, but it's also a bit of a change compared to the first. It is a more open affair, but is equally horrifying with its creepy cult set deep in the Arizona desert. As you explore the murder of a pregnant woman, you become embroiled in a horrific story. Both games feature strong storytelling, excellent gameplay, and look great on the Nintendo Switch, which is why they topped our best horror games on Switch list. Now is the time to pick these up if you can stomach them, that is. Juan, Jordan, what are your picks this week?
God got my hand. God give me voice. God got my hand. God.
Thank you very much, James. Some top bargains this week, and I picked V-Rally 4. I reviewed this on the Nintendo Switch and thought it was worth buying when it came out. I had so much fun with racing against the clock, and truth be told, these types of games where it's just you, the vehicle, the track, trying to go as fast as you can against that clock without making a mistake is what turns me on. I went straight into career mode and never looked back, and I still fire this up from time to time even now. I was impressed that it ran smoothly and remember playing this a ton in handheld. There's over 50 models here to choose from. You can customize and upgrade them too. And if you're into rally games at all, then do not hesitate at this price because it's an absolute bargain and a great time too. If you want more information on this, do not hesitate to check out my review. James will stick a card at the top right hand corner so you can check it out and find that video easily. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. See you next time.
Hey, how you doing everyone? Jordan here with my bargain of the week. Now, there are some tasty ones this week, and I had a little internal debate about which one I should pick, but in the end, I went with the one that I'm actually going to pick up myself. Sniper Elite 3, for a quality title like this, just $13.99 in dollars and euros, and $11.99 in your great British pounds. This is a very nice port of a great game, very unique on the Switch too. It has online gameplay, gyro controls. This was not just a quick cash-in of an old game. They took their time to make this right, and at 60% off, do yourself a favor and pick this up if you haven't already.
Thanks guys, and great picks. Up next, with Deadly Premonition 2 hitting the shelves this week, Juan did a deep review and his thoughts apply nicely to the original. A janky mess that is somehow gripping. Yes, Deadly Premonition has reached cult status and is like Marmite. You either hate it or love it without much in between. If you can imagine a gripping story put together by a film director with great narration that has close to no actual game development experience, then that's what we have here. A wonderful tale that expertly unfolds with some truly terrible gameplay in between. It's not for everyone, but if you want to see what all the fuss is about and make your own decision, then picking it up whilst it has 75% off certainly makes sense.
And night to preserve peace and order in this town. Every citizen.
Yonder is an intriguing game. It takes its cues from everywhere: Zelda, Fable, Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing, and more. Unlike those games though, this is not a tight experience. There's no pressure, few major goals or targets. Instead, it's an open world, chilled out experience that lets you do a fair amount. It doesn't individually meet the dizzy heights of its inspirations, but it feels as though it's not supposed to. If you're looking for a chilled out, broad but not too deep experience, then look no further, and the fact that it looks gorgeous is a bonus. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom is a special title. The spiritual successor of the Wonder Boy series, this Metroidvania platformer is one of the best there is, with excellent controls and wonderful gameplay supported by beautiful graphics and one of the very best soundtracks that we've ever heard on the Switch. This is not one to be missed. It's a great blast playing as all these different characters. Everyone can enjoy this regardless of age or skill level. RemiLore is an action RPG that takes the Diablo formula and makes it much more chilled out. The adventure has some roguelike elements which are randomised, and the levelling up system is interesting. Throw into the mix decent combat and nice Japanese voice work, and what you have is a nice dungeon looter that you can pick up and play in short, chilled out bursts. This and a few other games this week are only on sale in the US, but if you're outside of North America, you can still pick up games due to the Switch being region free. We've written a handy guide that you can check out on our website, switchwatch.co.uk. In the description, you'll find a link to that helpful article. Next up, it's the anti-gravity racer Redout. With an F-Zero sized hole on the Nintendo platform, games like Fast RMX have swooped in to fill the gap, and Redout does a solid job of doing the same. With a cool futuristic style to its visuals, a pumping soundtrack, and a healthy campaign mode, there is a lot to like here. What I do like is how each ship feels different across teams, and the introduction of controlling the pitch with the right stick. It makes for fast feeling on the edge of losing control racing. It's not perfectly polished. For example, local multiplayer is missing, which is a shame, though there is online play, so at the full price, it's a bit of a stretch, but with 75% off, it's a lot of racer for your money. Rally fans are in for a treat this week. Yes, we have V-Rally 4 on sale, but we also have WRC 8 with a whopping 70% off as well. When it first landed on the shelves, it's fair to say that the Switch version was fairly nerfed, which is a shame, as this is probably the best rally game in the series to date. Thankfully though, the developer improved things, lowering the visuals and optimising the game to deliver a more solid experience. And whilst the visuals did suffer, they did improve the gameplay a fair amount. If you like your rally games to be realistic, then this is worth looking into. This is less about over-exaggerating drifting and more about carefully approaching tracks, respecting turns and finding the best lines to take. The campaign is solid, and of course having the official licenses is a solid bonus. Things are a little dicier on the move, and it's a shame that there's no local multiplayer, but if you're after a solid solo rally game, then it's worth looking into. Flashback is one of the most iconic games in history. I remember it from the Amiga all those years ago. It is a wonderful adventure that set the scene for future generations. A sci-fi puzzle platformer that is ruthless. On the Switch, you can get by with some help making things easier, but can still experience the original intended gameplay as well. This updated version lifts the experience, but make no mistake, this is still a very old game with the original mechanics. It's one that every gamer should probably experience, but without rose-tinted glasses, it definitely won't have quite the same impact. With 95% off though, this is a beautiful trip down memory lane. You cannot beat a good old platformer, and the guys over at Nakalis certainly have an eye for publishing good ones. Not taking itself too seriously, you play as a barbarian showing off your might and muscle with a bit of magic too to impress the lady of your dreams. I mean, what else is there? This is a fantasy fiction which has that lovely pixel art we all love, 2D action platforming with some hack and slash combat thrown in, and all at just under $10. Back in 1980, Atari released Battlezone as an arcade machine. It was innovative and is considered to be the grandfather of 3D first-person shooters, albeit with you playing as a tank instead of a person. The game featured an unusual cabinet wherein you look through a periscope, immersing you in the battle on screen. Amazingly, the game recreated tank warfare so well that the US Army hired Atari to create a modified version which was used to train gunners. It could be said then that this is the first VR game that was ever made, so its launch on the PlayStation VR made a lot of sense and it was well received. Now, a couple of years later, Rebellion brought it to the Switch along with the DLC that has since been released, and it's been called Battlezone Gold Edition. There's not a whole lot of story here. It's a frantic and fun arcade style shooter that I was really impressed with when I reviewed it, especially if you get a chance to play it with friends locally or online. With 2/3 off, you can't go wrong.
Incoming enemies.
Subdivision is a third-person space dogfight shooter, a genre that I love, and yet there haven't been a huge number of great ones in recent years. Starting out life on mobiles, you'd be forgiven for thinking this would be crap, but I'm pleased to say that's not the case. With 30-odd missions and decent controls, this isn't as good as Manticore Galaxy on Fire, but it's better than much of the competition. With a chunky discount, this is a little gem worth investigating. 99 Vidas, or as I was corrected last time I put this one up, 99 Vidas is a crowdfunded game project based on a classic gaming podcast in Brazil. It's very random and I have no idea who they are, so any references or jokes are lost on me and will be on most people. So what we're left with is an old school beat 'em up in the vein of Streets of Rage or Double Dragon. The story is simple enough, clocking in at around 3 hours. It's repetitive, so you are unlikely to want to give it a go more than twice, but like all games in this genre, adding in a friend or two increases the fun. It looks nice visually, and the controls and performance are solid, making this a nice choice for an evening with a buddy at such a low price. And there you have it, a bunch of eShop games worth picking up. A lot of good titles this week. Are you tempted by any of these, or are you saving your cash for some of the new games going on sale this week that Juan covered yesterday? Or maybe you've got your eye on some lovely physical releases from Jordan's Roundup. Well, the next episode comes out tomorrow if that's your thing, and I'll be back next Sunday with more bargains, and look out for a couple of reviews in between. Take care, have a great week, and thanks very much for hanging out with me today.